All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's right now 6 p.m. We're doing our regular city council meeting. Today is April the 12th, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Before we begin, I'm going to introduce our junior mayor. We have Sarah Johnson. She's in 7th grade, and she's going to be doing a junior mayor job today. So let's give her a round of applause. Okay. And we'll go ahead and get the meeting started. Next up, Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Yes. Dave Abdallah.
Here.
Hassan Ahmad.
Here.
Mo Beydoun.
Here.
Nancy Breyer.
Here.
Robert Constant.
Here.
Ray Muscat is absent.
Correct.
And Tom Wenzel is absent.
Correct.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next up is our Pledge of Allegiance, and we will be led by Sarah Johnson.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is our agenda approval.
Council Chair,
Councilman Beydoun, go ahead.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the agenda of the regular meeting of April 12th, 2022 as submitted. Support.
Motion made by Councilman Beydoun, supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that? Actually, there is. There's going to be additions. Are those a part of this agenda already, Madam Clerk? Because you know there's two additions that we made, the change and the addition. 11A and 8.
There actually wasn't a change to the actual agenda. It was just to the backup. So the items listed on
we're
the
fine?
agenda are the same.
Okay, perfect.
There was, okay.
Okay, so motion made by Councilman Beydoun, seconded by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
Council Chair,
Councilman
I
Beydoun.
move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 22nd, 2022 as outlined in 4A. Support.
Motion made by Councilman Beydoun, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 4B.
Council Chair,
Councilman Beydoun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the special meeting of March 30th, 2022 as outlined in 4B.
Support. Motion made by Councilman Beydoun, supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing,
I made a mistake. Remember we said we're going to walk on the Heights hot dogs? Should I suspend the rules?
yeah, we'd have to suspend rules when I had it on there.
I mean, he pulled his permit and everything. We just need to approve him.
Okay, but we don't have the documentation.
He does. He has it in at the.
You can't do it like this.
It's okay. We'll talk about it.
Okay. So recommended motion, item 4B. Motion made by Councilman Beydoun, seconded by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is public hearings and comment on agenda items only. You'll have 2 minutes. Please come on up. Please state your name, the city you live in, and the street that you live on. And if you could all do me a favor, have the microphone as close as possible to you.
Good evening.
How are you?
Steve Lobkovich, live on Tulane Street, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. Also serve on the Act 78 Civil Service Commission. I want to bring attention to item 8A, which is the potential appointment to the commission. I just want to bring up a couple of points on that. First, I believe that an appointment at this time is premature, simply because Commissioner Crandall has filed an appeal on his removal from the commission, and until there's a determination, and Mr. Mayor or Corporate Counsel, if you have something to shed on that, some light to shed on the outcome of that appeal, without that having been heard by a judge, I think it's premature to appoint someone else until we know the outcome of that termination. Secondly, it's apparent that it is the intention to appoint a president to the commission. And I would like to just bring a point of interest on that, that this body or the mayor's office does not appoint presidents to the commission. Only the active commissioners elect a president. So you can appoint a commissioner, and it's due, that is proper to do that once we know there's a vacancy there. But we choose our own president. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Would anybody like to comment back on that?
Steve, Mr. Lepkovich, so it's a mayoral appointment position, and then the president is elected by the members of, all the members of the Civil Service Commission, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
That takes place the first meeting of the year. However, I would have to think this is a special circumstance where if we need to appoint a new president, and again, without knowing the outcome of Mr. Crandall's appeal.
There's, I think, a few lawsuits.
Say that again, I'm
I
sorry.
believe there's a couple lawsuits. I think there's more than one lawsuit.
The only thing I'm aware of is that that Commissioner Crandall appealed his removal from the commission, which per the act he has every right to do, and then it goes to circuit court. And until that's heard, and it just so happens that Mr. Crandall is not in the area at this time. He's away on vacation. He's expected back shortly after Easter, so next week. And at that time, I think, resolution to, in whichever way a judge determines, I mean, that's up to a judge at this point. I just think it's premature to appoint a new commissioner before we know absolutely that the existing suspended commissioner is removed.
And you want to clarify that the appointment is to the commission, the mayoral appointment of that
Yes.
position to the commission.
And for the public.
Not as a particular officer.
Exactly. And for the public to understand, the commission, there's 3 members on the commission. One is appointed by the mayor. One is appointed, or actually elected, by the active employees in both the police and fire departments. And then the third one is chosen by those 2. So the mayor's appointee was the person that was temporarily removed, suspended at this time. Per the act, he's suspended until his termination or removal is upheld in court or he's ordered back, whichever way the judge would determine that. That's in the court now. And again, my point being, I think it's premature to appoint a new commissioner when the disposition of the existing removed or suspended commissioner has not been determined by a court.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Chair.
Wait, Steve, I think one of the councilmen has a question. Is it for
Well, it's
Steve?
not, it's more for our corporation council. What is our corporation's recommendation on this? I mean, did you see this?
Well, as I've stated before, a lot of these issues have been handled by Labor Council. There are some issues where I don't feel comfortable being involved in them because of a potential for a conflict of interest, because some of them have to do with Act 78 and Commissioner Thomas. And Commissioner Thomas had been employed by the City of Ecorse. I had been involved in claims against the City of Ecorse pertaining to his employment. He was not an adverse party to me, but it looked like there could be some issues with respect to me potentially giving advice to the city with respect to these issues in a way that might be considered to be unfavorable to Commissioner Thomas, because Commissioner Thomas was in a position that 2 of my clients were supposed to be in. So I want to put that out there first. So Chris McCullough, Labor Counsel for the city, has been advising the city with respect to this. Now, so therefore I have to be careful about what I say in terms of advice with respect to this because of the potential for a conflict. That being stated, in terms of general information, my understanding, and I advised the Act 78 Commission for a number of years, is that indeed, yes, the commission membership is chosen by the mayor with a commissioner that he appoints subject to your approval. Then there are the active employees who end up appointing a commissioner, which I believe would be Mr. Lopkovich, I think.
Commissioner Pop is the elected.
Oh, okay, so you are the neutral. You're the one who was appointed by
I am the one
other
that was
two.
appointed by the existing commission at the time of my appointment.
Right, and then among themselves, they do select the president of the commission. And that's my pretty firm recollection, because I was involved in that process over the years.
I understood that. What I'm asking is, could we be held responsible in moving forward with this?
Well, it depends on what a circuit court judge would end up deciding. If a circuit court judge basically ended up deciding that the removal would not be upheld, then yes, you could potentially have two people who are purportedly serving in the same position.
Then, if that's the case, Gary, couldn't we have this approval subject to the court order being upheld, or the court case being upheld?
You could possibly do that. You could possibly delay it. You could also possibly be in a position where if Mr. McCullough would meet with you, it's my understanding that there actually is one case. I haven't looked it up. I'm not familiar with the pleadings. I've tried to, as I've stated, defer to him with regard to this so that I don't get myself into some sort of an issue. But that might be something which you would have addressed in a closed session with Mr. McCullough. You could potentially go forward with this. You could potentially end up adjourning it to end up getting a status, or tabling it until you get a status with respect to that issue and potentially his advice. And my recollection of the statute is that, yes, what ends up happening is if there is a removal and then the person who is removed basically appeals that, whether it's to the mayor or otherwise, then the mayor has to end up going to the circuit court, and in this instance, and asking for a confirmation of his decision. So that's my recollection of how the process works. I don't know of the merits in this situation. I don't want to address the merits. I'm sorry, but I don't want to get myself into a situation where someone's accusing me of a conflict of interest.
Council Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, number one, I think everybody's aware a lawsuit has been filed, a circuit court lawsuit. The city attorney has made it clear that he is not the attorney handling that it's the Labor Council. And the issue is whether the removal is a final removal. And we won't know that until at least the circuit court lawsuit filed by the city is done.
Sure. Steve, when is the next meeting for the commission? Roughly.
First Monday of May, I believe. Let me,
So in a couple weeks.
yeah, it's a couple weeks. And I would like to add one other thing, if I may.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's next, or I'm sorry, Monday, May 2nd, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
At City Hall. We on the commission at this time have a quorum, so appointment, although, being expeditious with this, once there's a determination of Mr. Crandall's outcome, would be definitely beneficial. But at this time, we also have a quorum so that our business can continue. According to the rules and regulations of Act 78 in Dearborn Heights, we need 2 commissioners to have a quorum and to handle our business. So it's, my opinion is that it doesn't have to be rushed through. I'm glad that the mayor has an appointee in mind, and I look forward to the outcome, first of all, of Mr. Crandall, and secondly, to having a full membership of commissioners, one way or another.
Council Chair.
But I don't think it's so urgent of a matter to have to appoint today or to approve this appointment at this time. I believe that, I don't know if you want to table it until the outcome or whatever, but I don't think you have to put yourself in a position of appointing, you know, I guess, in conjunction with or, you know, the outcome in court. I just think it's premature to have any action at this time at all.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Go ahead, Mayor.
Council Chair, so I did consult with the attorney. We talked extensively about this topic here. We do need to appoint somebody to look after the interests of the city and follows the charter. So this, we have to do that. You know, we do need somebody that actually knows the charter and to make sure the charter is followed.
Okay. One of the concerns that I would have, Steve, is if you have two people, you're going to have a lot more, when you have votes, you're going to have ties, a lot of ties, obviously. That's why they always have them in odd numbers, i.e. the city council is 7, in this case with 3, and then when you have 2, you have a higher likelihood of a potential tie, especially when you have 2 people. I definitely would rather have 3 eyes on something than 2.
Well, I agree with you. That's why the commission is made up of 3 members.
Right, odd numbers.
I understand that fully. And again, I just wanted to bring attention to this for you. You're going to do what you want to do with it, but I thought it was pertinent to bring it up that, you know, at this time, there's a court case that's withstanding, and without determination from the court, there is the potential that Mr. Crandall's removal would be reversed. And then you will have 4 commissioners potential for a tie.
Well, at that
I
particular
don't
point,
know,
obviously,
whatever. But
yeah, obviously somebody would have to resign, more than likely. But,
Council
okay.
Chair, is it possible to maybe approve this temporarily until there's a court ruling?
That's possible.
Is that possible, Corp Counsel?
Yes.
The only difficulty in this situation is you could potentially have 2 people showing up and insisting that they both have the right to end up being there.
Well, could we put it that if the court is in favor of the commissioner that was removed, then the one that's, and I'm sorry, Council Chair, then the other, you know, the gentleman that's being appointed today would have to be removed indefinitely?
Yeah, the one thing that I don't recall right off, but I am not sure that the person is considered to be removed under Act 78. Now, as I understand the position that the city is taking, it is that the charter supersedes Act 78 with respect to this particular appointment. So if that's true, then Mr. Crandall would have no right to continue. If the other position, which sounds like what Mr. Crandall's position is that Act 78 takes priority, if he's correct about that, and then my understanding, and I could be corrected on this, is that Act 78 basically says that the person is suspended if they end up objecting to their removal until confirmed by the circuit court. Wow. So it makes it even more complicated in this situation. I don't have it in front of me. So again, I'm trying to be careful
Would you
about
like it?
the merits.
I have it right here if you want it.
Yeah, but not the charter.
Okay, one at a time, podium, please. Okay,
Council Chair.
thank you. Councilman, go ahead. Okay, we
So-
got to wrap this up.
Yeah, well, let's wrap this up in just 2 points. Number one, Mr. Miyake has told us that there's another attorney which we need to hear from, the attorney from Ogletree, the labor attorney. Number 2, there is a circuit court case pending. To appoint someone now would be like appointing someone to the council in the event I resign. It's not until the position is vacant. It's not vacant until the removal is final.
Councilman, with
Well,
respect, doesn't the mayor have the right?
Wait, let's follow the rules, please.
Council.
Okay, go ahead.
Council Chair, and I'm just speaking on a commission, and, you know, I'm being on the Cultural Relations Commission. Does the mayor, and maybe you can answer this, does the mayor have the authority and the autonomy to remove somebody off a commission? If it's an appointment by the mayor, does the mayor have the right to remove that person off a commission? And I'm asking that for myself because I don't know the answer to
The
it.
circuit court has the final say once a case is
Wait, guys,
filed.
just go through the chair, please.
So
I did, again, you know, you guys mentioned, I did talk to the attorney today before we came to this meeting, and he was standing behind this. Like I said, I consulted with him before we put this appointment in place.
I know, Council Chair, but my question is, and either the mayor, or even if Councilman Bob Constant or Mr. Miyake can answer, does the mayor have the autonomy to remove somebody off of the commission? Say, you're no longer allowed to be, or I'm going to fire you, or I'm suspending you indefinitely. Do they have that? And if so, then why is it going to circuit court?
It depends on which line of authority that you believe works in this situation. If Act 78 takes priority to the charter, no. If Act 78 does not take priority to the charter, then yes.
What do you
We have
believe?
that. I'm sorry?
What do you believe?
I will not address this issue unless it's in a closed session.
Council Chair,
Okay.
and again, as I mentioned, I did consult with the attorney that, I checked with him several times, even today, and we are with the charter. This motion we put in place, it is per charter.
Okay, who's the attorney, if you don't mind?
Mr. Makula?
Okay.
Council Chair.
Is he
Okay.
on Zoom?
No.
We just lost Zoom, by the way.
Yeah, we lost him.
Mr. Lopkovich has something to say.
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was going to attempt to answer your question, but I'm not sure that I should, actually.
Can you please?
If you're consulting with attorneys, I
Go ahead.
mean, I have the act right in front of me. I could read that entire section that has to do with appointments and removal of commissioners.
Please do.
But the gist of it is yes, the mayor has the authority to remove a commissioner for cause. And upon doing that, a commissioner has the right to appeal within 10 days, which I believe Mr. Crandall fell within. And following that, then it becomes incumbent upon the mayor or his office to file with circuit court a hearing on this subject, and it to be determined by a judge whether or not the removal is upheld or denied. It's up to a judge at this point.
Okay.
It's black and white, and I mean, I don't want to read the whole thing.
One
but I can-
last question, Steve. Is there anything for May 2nd, I think you said May 2nd, is there anything that you are aware of on the agenda that cannot be delayed to a month later? I'm just curious. And the reason I'm asking is,
I hear what you're saying, and I don't believe so at this time.
well, the reason I'm asking it,
Council
because then
Chair.
if that's an option, then we could maybe possibly table it, provided we don't have no loss of potential votes.
Council
Yes, ma'am.
Chair, we are actually in the process of hiring police officers right now, so we need to have that on the agenda at the next Act 78 meeting. So
Okay.
that's very critical. We have few police officers. They're in line to get interviewed, and we do have to get that in May.
Okay.
So it is critical to get those police officers
Okay.
hired.
So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take this to a vote, because we can't keep going.
Are we
around.
voting on it right now? It's not even,
It's not, this is just.
No, we're not, I'm sorry. We're going to continue. I'm sorry, continue. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anybody else with public comments?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm ready for bed already. Rachel Lapointe. Merrick
Recording
Street.
in progress.
Hold on. 1 second.
I think we're listening.
We're back on Zoom.
Just make sure. We're good? Okay, go ahead.
Rachel Lapointe, Merrick Street, Dearborn Heights. I have some answers to your discussion just now because I've been researching all day. A case in 2014, Mayor of Cadillac v. Blackburn, the court ruled that it was the same sort of removal of a commissioner sort of thing. The mayor's decision, removal becomes final only after either the commissioner fails to respond or the circuit court confirms the removal. So the removal, as it stands right now, is not final. It's still in that process. So Mr. Lopkovich was absolutely correct. So the same item,
Wait, you're saying any removal would have to be approved by the court?
if it has been appealed by the
Oh, if it's
commissioner.
been appealed,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, if the commissioner failed to respond, they're just saying, yes, I'll have a nice day. But until the circuit court finalizes it, it is not final. If I were sitting at that table with you guys, I would absolutely table this appointment until the next city council meeting and circuit court can push this, the way Act 78 is written, that this appeal can be put to the front of the docket. So the court, if requested by Mr. Crandall, can move up that date of that hearing so that it can be handled in a timely manner. So I would just encourage the city to follow up on that and table this appointment until the actual resignation is final, because we wouldn't want to deal with another lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Chair, again, the city of Dearborn Heights, through their attorneys, has filed an action in circuit court asking the circuit court to make a determination. That's filed by the city, that's pending. Whether Mr. Crandall's removal, which he's appealed, was proper or not.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, are you keeping time by any chance? Because I would have Ray here,
For what?
just for the
No,
speakers.
I will know.
Please, thank you. Anybody else in the audience that would like to come up and speak? Come up? Nope. Is there some? Come on up.
This is my nephew, and we did not plan this. I didn't even know he's coming to speak, and I don't know what he's speaking about, but Khal, better not be about me.
My name is Naima Jafer. I'm a resident of the city of Dearborn Heights. Let me just mute this first.
If you could do me a favor, just say the street you live on.
Sim Street. So at approximately 11 p.m., Tuesday, April 5th, I was at Canfield at the Ramadan night event, and officers ran public safety in jeopardy by blocking off the exit of Canfield, causing an approximate 35 vehicle lineup. People were attempting to leave the event, and many people were trapped and delayed from reaching their home destination for an extended period of time. Many students happened to be Crestwood High School students that were grabbing suhoor and on their way home to study and sleep because they had school the following day.
It's not on the agenda.
As I went to my
Yeah,
vehicle
I'm sorry, you're right,
to,
you're right.
It's not on the
If you could do me a favor, I apologize. So this particular part is only for agenda items. You do have a right to speak, and I will give you a right to speak. You'll have 3 minutes, no problem, but it's at the end of the council meeting. So I
Okay.
apologize. I thought you were going to have something on the agenda item.
Okay,
If
I
it's not on
can
the
do that.
agenda, it can't be there, but you will get your chance for sure.
Khal, so that's at the end of the meeting. If you want, send me that, and I'll address it for you.
I'll address at the end of the meeting.
Okay, no problem. Anybody else on agenda items? All right, anybody on Zoom, or do we still have Zoom lost?
We got internet back.
Okay,
I do not see any hands up.
no hands on Zoom, okay. Next up, Madam Clerk, just FYI, it's not working on my end.
Your stopped working?
No. Okay, next up is item number 5A. This is public hearing for the street vacation of unpaved roadway on Daniels between Powers and Courier.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council open the public hearing at 6:27 p.m. for the purpose of hearing comments and/or objections, if any, to the proposed street vacation of unpaved roadway on Daniel between Powers and Carrier as outlined in 5A.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Baydun, supported by Councilman Ahmad. Is there any discussion on this? And for those not familiar, there's a company on Daniel Street that's looking to take over a part of the city property and then make it a part of theirs, and then this is what the hearing is for. Is there anybody that would like to comment on this from the audience? And what about on Zoom? Do we have anybody on Zoom?
We have one person with their hand raised, but you did not take a vote to open the meeting.
Right. Okay, no problem. Okay, so motion made by Councilman Baydun, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. All in favor of the motion, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. The meeting is now considered open. Is there anybody attending the meeting that has any comments on the proposed street vacation? Basically, meaning where we are giving up, okay, thank you. Where we as a city are giving up our part of the land and giving it to whoever's asking for it. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. We're Global Green. We're the company. We're actually on Powers.
Okay.
Green Service Group.
They have it down on Daniels between Powers and Courier. Okay.
My name is Clayton Robinson. I'm the Vice President.
I'm Aaron
Can you just
Tucker,
speak
I'm
into the mic?
president.
Clayton Robinson, Vice President.
Aaron Tucker, President.
We appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and the long-term growth for us down the road. This little piece of property is very important to us. We're looking to add a warehouse building to the existing piece of property. So the adjacent piece of property is very important to us for our groundwork, parking vehicles, just encompassing more space. which is going to allow us to bring more jobs into the city. Plus, it allows us to take over that piece of property, which has been a little neglected as far as mowing and trash and garbage, and we do a lot of those things now to maintain that property and take care of it. So we appreciate your time and appreciate you considering us for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or any questions since they are up here from any council members? So I can just give you my comments on this. I'm always in favor of having somebody develop any type of land, and obviously that land has been there for, who knows, 50, 60, 70, whatever it is, years. It's never been sold, obviously. Nobody's ever made a bid on it. At the same time, I do have concerns about giving up land for, completely for free. I do understand whenever it's an alley directly behind a house, that's much easier to be able to give that up. In this particular case, it's land that could potentially be developed, because it is a decent-sized piece of land, 60 by, I think, 245, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Right around there? And a concern I had, and I did some research as far as property values or land values. A lot of the land in the area, that are residential, that is, and I know this one's not residential, is selling anywhere between 15, 18,000, all the way up to about 30, 35,000. Depends on a particular piece of land. In this particular case, it's commercial, and there's not been, anybody that's made a bid on it, obviously, to develop it over the years. So I'm not saying it's a high-demand area, and I know it meets your particular needs perfectly. My only concern is honestly about giving it up for free, and I'm just being honest.
We actually don't expect it for free.
Yeah, we've been through this process, we've been going through this for 2.5 years.
Correct.
Nobody's ever made us, told us how much they wanted for it, so I mean.
And we did our own study too, so, and our numbers are in line kind of with yours on the lower end, but I did a residential study because I viewed it as a residential lot, and I didn't think you could develop and make it a sole commercial lot, just because of the width and the adjacent creek.
Right.
It runs to the south end as well.
Yeah, it goes all the way up to the creek, correct.
Yeah.
So we didn't figure that it could be developed by anybody really but us. And that's why it's important to us, having that extra space. I mean, we've already outgrown the building that we're in. When we started, we had 5 employees. In peak time in the summer, we run up to 100 to 110 employees now, which is very impactful for the city. And we're hoping to continue to grow. We have a 10-year plan in place, and part of that plan is having that building, built and developed. We've actually already hired an architect who's done some initial talks with the Planning Commission and the Building Department to make sure that building will fit appropriately in that space. And as far as we know, as at this point, that will work, the building that we're talking about putting up. And we're actually talking about putting that building up on the existing piece of property that we have. But when we put up that building on our property,
You'll need more parking.
we lose that footprint of the total lot.
And it goes into that parcel.
Okay.
Council Chair.
Thank you, Councilman.
Two questions. Have you talked with Tifa at all, at Tom Roscoe at our Tifa?
We have not talked with Tifa. We've dealt with them when we first bought the building in 2010, and we did get a grant from Tifa early on, but we have not talked to them about this particular
Endeavor,
yeah.
And the name of your company again is?
Global Green Service Group.
Global?
What does it do?
Green, primarily demolition, some environmental work.
Global Green?
Yep.
Thank you.
Council Chair.
Councilwoman Breyer?
Do you anticipate hiring more people with this process?
Absolutely.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Yes, Dan? We lost the internet again?
No, Ray Muscat has.
Oh, Ray Muscat.
And we're going to ask, I let him,
Okay,
he knows that he,
right. So Ray's familiar with the situation. So Ray Muscat is homesick, and we had looked into whether he'd be able to vote or not, and unfortunately, after we'd gone back and forth with the clerks and the rules and the laws and what have you, he's not allowed to vote, but he is, of course, allowed to be on, and he is capable of making a statement as a resident, so.
I'm going to let him.
As a resident.
As a resident.
This is.
Council Chair, he should only be making, he and I discussed this matter. He should not participate in a way that could affect deliberations with respect to this matter. that's a potential problem, because he has to be in person to basically be able to do that. And I don't know how you separate out the fact that he is a councilman and a member of this body from, in general, unless he's not addressing something that's not a matter of business before.
But at any point, any one of us as council members have had the opportunity to be able to go down to the podium and say, I, Dave Abdallah, am speaking as a resident, which I have a right to as a resident, to speak on whatever I want. He's not going to be voting, but he has a statement to make. And as a resident, because this is his taxes too, he has a right to speak. So in my opinion, I think it'd be okay, I'd be okay personally with him just speaking. He's not going to be voting on anything.
I wouldn't necessarily have a problem. I just think you're walking into uncharted territory that might end up raising problems or setting a precedent that you don't want to set a precedent for. In other words, it's again, not only is a member, your deliberations and your decisions have to end up being made in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, is his comment on something that is potentially going to be decided, and potentially it's not going to be decided tonight. It's going to end up being decided another time. This is a public hearing on this. This is going to have to come back. Is his participation going to potentially end up being considered to be problematic under the Open Meetings Act? I think it's an open question because no one knows the answer.
But where I disagree, I mean, he is a member of the public and he has a right to make a comment during a public hearing.
Council Chair?
Yes.
Council Chair, I will yield to Mr. Miyake.
Okay.
Thank you,
Just fine for you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Council.
You can mute me again.
I'm sorry.
He's muted.
We do have it on a vote if the council should decide to do that, because that's what we've done in the past. We voted at the same meeting.
What item is it?
You have the ability to make the decision or bring it back. In the past, we have made that decision at the same meeting.
Council Chair, but we still have to talk about the cost or the purchase
Right.
price.
And that's that's the option for today.
Correct,
You
correct.
can or you can't.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
In regards to the costs, I mean, think about the legacy cost of not maintaining that piece of property anymore, and that we're going to assume that legacy cost of maintaining that property. And then once we put a building up, the increased tax revenue from that building, and then the jobs and all the other things that come along with it.
Councilor Chair.
If I may, I'm sorry, Councilor.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yes, that's all wonderful, and it's obviously a decision of this body, but there's nothing that requires you to do so. There's nothing that is being required other than once this ends up taking place, it's irreversible and the property belongs to the adjacent property owner. So that's just all I wanted to end up saying.
So basically, just to clarify, what Gary's saying is there's nothing requiring the gentleman to build on it. Once they get the land, it's theirs.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilman.
And so, and I appreciate bringing in more jobs and building and bringing, making things look great, but in today's era and knowing how expensive land is, I just don't see the tax, the city, and then not to say that the city is a business, but to not see that the city is not going to benefit from this, where most likely you guys will be benefiting from this. So, it just, in my personal opinion, and to this whole body, it needs to be sold to you guys. It can be sold to you guys. I'm sure it's got to be at a fair market value, but, it can't just be handed over to you.
We're not asking that.
Okay.
We never have.
But what we are asking is that this process has delayed us already 3 years.
Yeah, and that's crazy. I'm sorry that that's happening. That is crazy. So I'm also going to ask Council Chair to make that a priority so that they're bringing this out to you guys by hopefully the next city council meeting.
I mean, we would appreciate that. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, if not, then we're gonna have to decide what we need to do and move in a different direction.
We've come this far, 3 years. I'm sure one more city council meeting will be all right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilor Chair?
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
So what's the next step for the gentleman? I mean, they're ready to buy, or,
So if we approve it today, there's a public hearing. If we approve it today, we could approve it to just give it to them in general, or we could approve it subject to actual dollar amount, or we could approve it, let's say, just use a hypothetical. If we said $1,000, we could agree to it. Go ahead, Gary.
My recommendation would be to refer back to the administration to negotiate terms.
Price.
and to bring it back to the next city council meeting, and then close the public hearing.
Okay.
Council Chair, we
Madam
do
Clerk?
have Emergency Manager Director Gavin on the line, or on Zoom. He's got his hand up, and I think he's
Yes.
handling this.
Go ahead, Lee. And Lee, if you could do me a favor, when you speak, just state if you're speaking as a resident or as in your city position.
We got him, Stan.
Okay, I'm here. I'm speaking as a city employee. So I worked with Butch and Aaron back in April of 2019. They had an interest in that property, so I brought it before the council. At that time, it was referred back to administration. Naturally, all that occurred over the last 3 years. No progress was made on it. They reapproached me again. You know, I talked to the council chair there, Dave, and you said bring it back to the council, so that's what I started. You know, at no time, Butch and Aaron, they've been cooperative. They went back and re-signed all the paperwork. They discussed with a neighbor to the west of them, and he had no interest in the property. He signed that he did not, you know, have any interest. And this property is to the east of their building. I went down there and I had showed you how it's posted down there. I hadn't seen that before, but they post the property, and if anyone has any objections, they can attend tonight's meeting. And both Butch and Aaron, you know, they want to move forward on their business, and it's a council decision. I just said I would represent it. Like Dave said, they wanted all along, they want that property. If it's going to cost them, okay. But, you know, for 3 years, we've been trying to get it through. And sure, with COVID and transition, this and that. So I just wanted to speak on their behalf that, you know, they've been waiting 3 years. So hopefully, whichever way the council goes, we let them get the property in whatever way you guys decide, and let them move forward with their building. If you've been down in that area, there's just their building, and adding to it would probably enhance the area. That's all I really got to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lee. So just to clarify for some of the council members, one of the options that is available to the city, of course, is to put the property up for sale and sell it. Is that correct, Gary? Obviously?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other option is, of course, to sell it to them, and that's what we're trying to agree on. And then the third option is for us as a city, for whatever reason, to just keep the land ours and just keep maintaining it. So with that being the case, okay, we're going to go out public info. Okay. By the way, Madam Clerk, we got to obviously change the verbiage, because on everything it says Daniels instead of Powers. Even the original thing said Daniels instead of Powers. So we'll get that corrected.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how it was submitted to the clerk's office.
No problem. Okay, so the voting on this will take place now, or do we have to, before we close the public hearing, correct?
Yeah, I would do it before. Well, you can close the public hearing and then end
Yes.
up doing the vote. Probably would be cleaner.
Okay, so at this particular point here, no other
Council Chair?
issues
Yeah,
from the
they-
council?
They should talk to Tifa, because Tifa can help procure the sale, because the property's in the Tifa district, and there may be Tifa money
Okay,
available.
that's an option, but I'm going to go ahead and put it to a
Plenty of
vote right
money.
now. Okay, so at this point, the public hearing for the street vacation of the unpaved roadway on Powers and Courier, Dearborn Heights City Council hereby closes the public hearing at 6:43 PM, and this motion is made by Councilman Baydoun
Support.
and seconded by Councilman Ahmad. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Now, next item is the voting on this, and this is item number 5. Number 2 on 5, A2, 5A2. So they have it.
So do we want to use different verbiage?
So you could make the same motion, or you could send it back to administration to agree on a price.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm going to refer this back
But
to.
I presume, Corporation Council, I presume the first thing we got to do is approve the sale subject to the administration agreeing on the price. Is that correct?
I would
Or
suggest
deny the
referring it back to the administration to.
Period?
Yes, and then hopefully what we can do is have a proposal that shouldn't be all that complicated for the next meeting, or the meeting after that at the very, very latest.
Okay.
And Council
So
Chair.
anybody want to make that motion? Go ahead.
Well, before I do that, before I refer this back, I'm asking this administration, the gentleman said they've been working for 3 years, maybe on and off, whatnot, but I can tell you this administration is working extremely fast. And I know that Mr. Miyake is going to, get on the ball on this one, and we're not going to see you at the 2 meetings from now. Hopefully, we'll see you guys at the next meeting. And with that being said, Council Chair, I'll refer this 5A back to the administration.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baidoon, supported by Councilman Constant. Any discussion on that? I can tell you for myself, I'm all in favor in selling it to them. As you know, for 3 years I've said this. I'm all in favor of this. It's not an area that has, high demand. So I'm all in favor of giving it to you guys, but just as something at a price, not for free. That's the only thing I'm against. And I'm glad we're on the same page. So thank you. So a motion made by Councilman Baidoon, supported by Councilman Constant. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair.
Councilman Baidoon.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the current claims 6-1 through 6-67 as submitted.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Baidoon, seconded by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is consideration of bids. Item 7A.
Council Chair.
Councilman Baidoon.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council award the bid to the Lower Rouge CSO L-42 separation project to Palmer Enterprise, Inc. in the amount of $11,809,232.50 as they are the lowest bidder. What's that?
$232.50.
Yeah, $11,809,232.50. I'm sorry. As the lowest bidder. In addition, approve the payment per the attached scope fee and authorize the mayor and the comptroller to sign the necessary warrants and authorize the treasurer to issue the payment as outlined in 7A.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Baidoon, supported by Councilman Ahmad. Is there any discussion on that? Mr. Deeb, if you don't mind? For those in the audience and those on Zoom, because this is such a large amount, if you don't mind just giving our residents just a general outline as to what this thing's all about?
So as part of the city's effort to separate, well, we're mandated to separate sewers, sanitary from storm. We had, first of all, this is a bond-funded project, so we made an agreement with the state of Michigan 3 years ago on the number of outfalls within the city of Dearborn Heights to separate sanitary from storm. We did one, there's 3 of them that we bonded, we sold bonds for, revenue bonds, and this is number 2. So we did one, the smaller one, about a year ago. It was completed, L43. L42 is one of the largest. It's approximately 58 acres of heavily populated residential area. The project, in addition to being a requirement by the state environmental group, it's also to our advantage because we're going to free up some capacity within the city by eliminating the potential for combined sewers, meaning that storm and sanitary go on in the same pipe. So it is an important project. It's one of the largest ever in the city of Dearborn Heights. And so this is number 2 out of 4 projects that we bonded for. We have one more coming up. This project is going to take place over 2 construction seasons. So if we authorize it today, it will take all of 22 and 23 construction seasons. During that time, we will be working on the number 3 and number 4 projects within the bond revenue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deeb. In this particular project, for those residents that are not in the know, primarily, it's going to be the main boundaries is going to be like Cherry Hill, Beach Daly, Avondale, which is just north of Michigan Avenue, and Gully.
Gully, yes.
Thank you,
It
Mr.
also
Dib.
includes some water main projects. Since we are going to dig up the area, we're updating some water main work. So basically, we don't have to excavate twice. We're taking advantage of that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. So, item 7A, motion made by Councilman Baidoon, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Is there any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 8A. This is reports from Mayor, Act 78, Police and Fire Civil Service Commission appointment.
Council Chair.
Councilman Baidoon.
I'd respectfully ask that we can table this until the next meeting.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant, motion made by Councilman Baidoon, supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair.
Go ahead.
I know that there's, kind of going back and forth here, and this is one of my reasons for tabling this. But I want Mr. Lapkovich to know, in Public Act 78, I actually know the attorney here, Mr. Murad, and one of the most high-level people I've ever met in my entire 32 years of living. He's younger than me. I actually went to school with him. Ro Murad is a very, very high-level man. And that's not to determine whether he gets the position or not, or to be on this commission. That ultimately comes back down to the courts. But I will say to the mayor that this is a unbelievable person to be appointed. I'm a huge fan of Mr. Murad, but I want to make sure that we're properly going through the courts, and if the court rules that we're in favor, I'll even host a special meeting to make sure that Mr. Murad is appointed.
Council Chair.
And Councilman Constant, go ahead.
Yeah, I just echo what Mr. Baidoon said, and I don't know the new gentleman. I do know Martin Cranley. He's a partner at Clark Hill. He's got a lot of experience in this area. I think it's important we follow the rules. I think it's important for the independence of the commission. I think it's important for the enforceability of the findings of the commission. And again, the city has filed a circuit court lawsuit asking the circuit court to determine that the dismissal of Mr. Crandall was fair and right. And that's been filed and that's pending. So until that's determined under the act, because Mr. Crandall appealed it, his dismissal is not final.
Now, I understood it the reversal, so I don't know if somebody can clarify for us whether it's the mayor or Gary, because I understood Mr. Crandall's got a lawsuit against the city.
No.
We have a lawsuit?
No, asking the circuit court to approve it, to approve the removals.
Not to make sure, okay. Because I thought you were saying that he has a lawsuit against us.
He appealed.
No, he appealed it only.
He appealed his removal from the commission.
Okay, thank you. All right. The only concern that I do have is what the mayor brought up is about other officers that are looking to be hired, and obviously this may possibly slow down the process. And obviously, we've been looking to hire officers for quite some time now, and if we have, I don't know if we have candidates or not, I'd like to presume that we do. I personally would like that to slow down the process personally.
Right.
But it's up to all of us as a body.
I think Mr. Lapkovich and others indicated that the Civil Service Commission can still function, can still do its duty, can still meet, can still make decisions.
They still have a quorum, so.
Council Chair, again, as I mentioned, we need somebody to look after the interest of the city with the charter. We are following the charter, what we did. So, but you guys are doing this, so you gotta have two people to vote. And again, I don't want to talk about some issues, legal matters, but I hope that you guys vote, not to table this here, because we still have some police officers that we need to proceed with the interview process, and that can take a while.
Council Chair.
If we delay this, again, we are following the charter, and I did follow the protocol what the labor attorney has brought forward, and we did quote the charter in this section.
Okay, Councilman Baidoon.
Council Chair, and I respect the mayor on this, I do, and this is a hard decision. But we don't even have an opinion letter. I don't have anything here to tell me that, hey, we don't know that. And so Gary won't speak on it. The attorney never spoke to us about it. There's never went to closed session. There's a court ruling here. I can't make a decision on this, and I don't think anybody should make a decision on this. Listen, they're just being logical. And I'm sorry for the officers that were interviewing. You still have a quorum. I mean, I believe the two gentlemen that are on there are a former police officer and a former fireman, or if not, I think his son is a fireman.
Fireman, yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't see the body should be making a decision today on something that we don't have anything in front of us. I don't have an opinion letter to go based off of that. I'm sure the charter says that, but our corporation counsel has saying I've yielded to speak on this. I don't want to say anything on this subject. I've never spoken with this other attorney. I've met him one time.
Council Chair, I mean, everybody, as we talked about this in the past, not just this one in particular, you guys have had this here, you could have called the attorney. So now we're discussing legal issues here. You could have picked up the phone and called the attorney yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could have had more than just a legal opinion.
But we were never provided with that. I went with the information that was given.
You could have done that before, though. You and I talked earlier about some other matter, and if you guys if you have an issue with anything, to call the administration or to do whatever you need to do so you can make a decision.
And look, I'm sorry, I'm not here to go back and forth with this on this. I asked to table it is because we don't have enough information on this. It's not that who's right and who's not, to be honest with you guys. Me personally, if this was already approved by the courts or not, I would be approving Ro Murad. That's one of my best friends. He's literally one of my best friends, a huge supporter of mine. And if Ro's watching right now, I want you to know I love you, man, but I can't make a decision of something that I don't have in front of me. Well, and maybe I failed to do my due diligence, but I think everybody on this council here failed to do their due diligence because nobody called the corporation council.
Well,
unless Council Chair, you did.
because in all fairness, typically, we were all under the understanding that we could get the answer for Gary Miyake. But
Correct.
because of conflict of interest, which we were told about right now, he's feeling that he's not comfortable making decisions on this, which I get it, and I respect that. I get it, and I respect that. But with that being the case, then we're not getting legal advice at this particular point. That's the concern.
Yeah.
So it's not, honestly, if I was under the understanding, Mr. Mayor, that we'd be able to get whatever answers we needed from Gary. But again, I'm not saying Gary's not giving it to us. I respect his opinion and why he's not.
And I want everybody to know.
But that's leaving us without legal opinion.
Council Chair, I came in here going to approve this.
Okay, one second. Go through the chair.
Council Chair.
Go ahead.
I came in here today wanting to approve this. I swear to God I did. Mr. Lopkovich brought up a great point. There's a Stone Circuit Court still pending. The city is filing, for the courts to approve the removal of him. And if he's removed, Ro's going to get on. And Murad is his nickname, but
yeah.
So
I can say with Ray Murad, very reputable attorney. I've heard nothing but great things about him. I've not personally used him, but I've heard nothing but great things about him. So I'm very comfortable with Ray Murad being on there. At the same time, I just want to make sure that I follow the right protocols. Gary, you had something you want to say?
I wanted to clarify. In general, I have an issue in terms of potential conflict of interest. If I was to address anything having to do with any merits to the degree that I don't think there's a conflict or there's very unlikely to be an allegation of that, I would only say it in a closed session.
Okay, I respect that. Thank you, Gary. So the options we've got right now is to either approve this.
No, we have a motion on the table to table it.
Oh, the motion is to table it, okay. The original motion was to approve it, okay. So one of the motion is to table it, well, then if that's the only motion, then we'll just go with that. So let's go ahead. Any other discussion on this?
Council Chair, I have a question. Do you know how long would it take in the circuit court to have an answer regarding the petition, regarding the?
I have not seen the petition, and I haven't researched the particular statute. I would imagine, since it is a process where it is just a de novo review, as I understand it, that it would really be a matter of, is the circuit court judge going to hop on it, or is the circuit court judge not going to? If the circuit court judge hopped on it, it could be done relatively quickly. If the circuit court judge says, I'm going to take my time with this, I don't know. And,
so when you say quickly, is it a matter of weeks or?
Yes, if it was done quickly, I would consider that to be a matter of weeks with the circuit court judge. But again, it's unclear to me how this judge would handle her docket on this matter. So it could be longer than that. I'm sorry, I can't give you a better answer than that. This is very unusual. I have never personally dealt with these particular issues in representing the city or any other city. I was actually special legal counsel to the Act 78 Commission in the city of Westland, probably in about 1990, 1991. and never ran into it there either. So this is a very unusual proceeding, doesn't normally happen.
Okay. I do want to make a quick comment, Mr. Mayor. For us, the difficulty, because there's two game changers that happened here tonight. I can speak for myself. I'm not speaking on behalf of Councilman Baidoon. But first of all, I found out today there's an appeal. I didn't know that, honestly. And then now I'm finding out there's a lawsuit or whatever. We're going to court, us as a city, trying to make sure that this happens. Both of these things I did not know, and I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying by not knowing that, now I'm getting more clarification from Gary Miyake, but then he can't tell us based on conflict of interest. So now there's three items that are up in the air, and that makes it very difficult, honestly, to be able to make a decision. As much as I would like to, for me, it makes it difficult. But go ahead, Councilman.
Well, quickly, Council Chair, when I was shortly with the city of Dearborn, the three attorneys in the Corporation Counsel office and their employees appealed the decision of the Civil Service Commission appointing a particular attorney with less than the number of years experience required. They appealed it to circuit court. And that was heard in just really a matter of about 60 days.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussions on this? Okay, so motion made by Councilman Baidoon, seconded by Councilman Constant. And this is to table this until further notice. All in favor, please state aye.
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 No.
Those opposed?
No.
No. Okay.
Ready?
Madam Clerk?
Dave Abdallah,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Mo Baidoon,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
No.
Robert Constant.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 4-1.
Okay. Motion carried. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next item on the agenda is item 9A, CEDD Director Jamal Eaton Center Restroom Renovation, Change Order 1A and Change Order 1B.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve Charge Order 1A and Change Order 1A and Change Order 1B in the amount of $3,875 to CNS Construction Management. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller to sign the necessary warrants and the treasurer to issue payment in an amount not to exceed $20,275 as outlined in 9-A.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilman Baidoon. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is Chief of Staff Hernandez, purchase and payment of broadcast equipment for the WDHT cable TV.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baidoon.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase of broadcast equipment for the WDHT cable TV from Advanced Lighting and Sound in the amount of $12,514. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller to sign the necessary warrants and treasurer to issue the payment from the PEG Capital Improvement AL and GL account 101-809-981-500 as outlined in 9B.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baidoon, seconded by Councilman Breyer. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
nice to hear from Councilwoman Breyer to second that. Thank you. That's all.
Have to be fast.
Okay. Since we're on this particular subject, if you don't mind, I'm asked either the mayor or chief of staff, if you could just give us at least a sentence or two update as far as the status on the city council chambers and where we're at with that roughly. I know we're in the final phase of it. Aldeep, go ahead.
So as you know, the project was at 95% complete. I mean, we had punch list items, few items to complete when our contractor passed. And so we have retainage money. So we owe the company money, but we still have a few things that we need completed. They're on the punch list items. I've contacted his wife, and today she assigned a project manager to carry on the work that her late husband was supposed to finish. So we're at 95%. I mean, we're real close. It's beneficial occupancy, but, so I'm holding off on all payments. We're not going to pay him. We owe him a lot more than the items are worth. So we had one of two choices: either find someone else to finish the work, since the company, it was a design-build project, or give her the chance to step up and finish the project and get her money back, because we owe her close to like $85,000. I kept retainage on every payment we made, so not thinking that we're going to lose the contractor. But so tomorrow we have a meeting with the new project manager, and hopefully by end of the month we should wrap it up. It's not that many items left, very few.
New project manager from the same company, correct?
The same company, so I don't have to make any changes and come back to you. This is the easiest way to finish the project.
Okay.
Just issue the check and then the same company name, as opposed
Beautiful.
to, yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Beautiful. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yep.
Any discussions on this at all? Hearing none, let's go ahead and take that to a vote. All in favor of item 9B, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Our junior mayor is doing a really good job here.
She is.
Good job. All right, next item on the agenda is item 9C, Chief of Staff Hernandez, agreement with Nyhart for fiscal year 2022, GASB 75, OPEB valuation, and fiscal year 2023, interim GASB 75, OPEB valuation.
Council Chair,
Councilman Constant.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the service agreement with the Howard E. Naert Company for fiscal year 2022 GASB 75 OPEB valuation and fiscal year 2023 interim GASB 75 OPEB valuation. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the agreement. Furthermore, authorize the mayor and comptroller to sign the necessary warrant and the treasurer to issue payment from general ledger account 101-200-817.000 as outlined in 9C.
Support. Motion made by Councilman Constant, supported by Councilwoman Breyer. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, let's take that to a vote. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is City Engineer Ali Deeb, City Hall Roof Overlay Charge Order Number 1.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve a contract change order in the amount of $15,110.43 to LED Lion Inc. for work related to the City Hall roof overlay. This change will increase the original contract value from $98,510.59 to $113,621.02, which is a 15.38% increase. In addition, approve the payment per the scope fee and authorize the mayor and comptroller to sign the necessary warrants for a total amount not to exceed $113,621.02, and authorize the treasurer to issue the payment as outlined in 9D.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilman Baidoon. Is there any discussion on this? I got a question for Mr. Deeb. As you are aware, obviously, the City Hall roof situation has been an ongoing issue for multiple units in our City Hall.
Yes, sir.
Provided, and again, it's just provided this is approved or denied, either way, how long is it before the roof is going to be completed?
We're on the finals now. We're really punch list. So what we did is we did the work in the middle of winter. So it's an overlay, and we tried to do it in a way to extend the life as much as possible, because this wasn't a replacement. The full replacement will get you into structural repairs underneath and stuff. So this change order included things like ponding water. To address ponding water, we had to do boards. Boards will be a material that goes under the flat roof membrane to try to allow for drainage. So that's the thing. We wrapping up. The only thing we didn't include on that roof was a new coping, which is the aluminum part on the outside, because it still looked good. Plus, the contractor we utilize doesn't do aluminum. So instead of having them hire a sub and we pay markup, we figured if we ever have to do it, we'll do our own. We can hire someone directly and save money. But the roof is functioning fine now.
Thank you.
It's a big difference.
Thank you, Mr.
Chair.
Deeb.
Yes, sir.
Councilman, go ahead.
And I know the clerk used to have leaks in her building. With the new roof, are we better now? That's
So far, so
awesome.
good.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to this administration. Thank you to Ali Deeb and
Anytime.
everybody that did
They
that.
used to send us what packets, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, we didn't.
Okay. Anybody else, any further discussion on this? All right, hearing none, let's go ahead and take this to a vote. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is City Engineer Ali Deeb, United States Department of the Interior, U.S. Geological Survey Joint Funding Agreement.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydoun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the United States Department of Interior U.S. Geological Survey Joint Funding Agreement and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the agreement. To maintain this agreement, the city owes $15,700 for the period of October 1st, 2020 until September 30th, 2021, and as an additional $16,000 for the period of October 1st, 2021 until September 30th, 2022, for the total of $31,700. In addition, approve the payment per the agreement and authorize the mayor and comptroller to sign the necessary warrants and the treasurer to issue payments as outlined in 9E.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Baydoun, supported by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on this? Mr. Deeb, if you could do me a favor, just for the residents, can you clarify, because we're going back here 2-3 years, and we're paying backwards for this information that you feel you need. What is the advantage to us as a city in a sentence or two by having this?
Right. So this is a piece of equipment that the prior administration had worked out with the United States Geological Survey. That's the only monitoring station on the south end in the Ecorse Creek. But unfortunately, the new administration, including myself, no one was aware of that agreement. So we didn't utilize it. We didn't know last year until we were contacted by the USGS. Do you guys want to stay in that program? I contacted the engineer in charge of this project, and we met on site. We actually found the piece of equipment. It is extremely good. I personally use it. It provides a lot of data. I wish we had it last year during the flood, because that would have been valuable. I wish we were aware of it. There was no records in the city. But anyway, so it is fully functioning. The equipment works great. It provides live data 24/7. It provides historic data. You can query the data. And this is another tool in our effort to fight the flooding situation on the Ecorse Creek. It's the only one in the city of Dearborn Heights. On the south side, we have one on the north, but the south side, that's the only monitoring station we have. And what I like to do is eventually make it available to the citizens that they can, just get the data. I mean, it's public data. It is valuable, and it's part of our, flood mitigation efforts.
Well, thank you for not
Yes,
forgetting
sir.
the Ecorse Creek.
Well, we're not
Appreciate
going to
it.
give up on that, no.
Okay, any other discussion on this? Hearing none, do you have some? Hearing none, let's go ahead and take that to a vote. Motion made by Council, I can't read my own handwriting.
Ahmad.
Is that Ahmad? Okay, Councilman Ahmad? No, it's seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Councilman Baydoun and seconded by Councilman Ahmad. I need your help on this.
The 1-2 call.
All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is item 9F, and this is Controller Sabuda, Budget Amendment, Water and Sewer Operating Fund Debt Payments.
Council Chair.
Councilman Baydoun.
It's Councilman
I'm sorry, Councilman Ahmad. I'm fast. When you're fasting, your brain's not operating
I
at the
move
same
that the
level.
Dearborn Heights City Council authorize the comptroller to amend the FY?
The FY.
The FY 2021-22 operating budget as follows, as outlined in 9-F,
Just 1 through 4.
1 through 4.
FY is fiscal year.
Okay.
Is that
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by?
Support.
Seconded by Councilman Baydoun. Any discussion on this? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is item 9G, Fire Chief Brogan, Budget amendments, public assistance grant, and AFG grant.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council authorize the comptroller to make the following budget amendments as outlined in 9G, and it's just a bunch, so.
No, you gotta say it all.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about all the numbers?
General funding revenue.
Well, just say as submitted, then just say, you're talking about these?
As submitted.
Yeah, say at least which funds they are, and just say as submitted.
General fund expenses, general fund revenues, general fund expenses, as submitted.
Okay, thank you. So motion made by Councilman Baydun, seconded by?
Support.
Councilman Ahmad. Is this a Baydun and Ahmad show today? Okay. Any discussion on this? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is Fire Chief Brogan, purchase and payment of items under public assistance grant.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase of radio equipment, trench rescue equipment, technical rescue equipment, weight stack, and CESPA fill machine from various vendors in the amount of $41,361.42. These items are 100% funded by the public assistance grant. In addition, authorize the mayor and controller to sign the necessary warrants and treasurer to issue the payments for the capital outlay account 101-335-981 000 upon receipt as outlined in 9-H.
Support.
Okay. Motion made by Councilman Ahmed, supported by Councilwoman Breyer. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9I, Fire Chief Brogan, purchase and payment protective gear.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase of bunker gear from Phoenix Outfitters in the amount of $19,999. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller to sign the warrants and the treasurer to issue payment from clothing account 101-335-713.000 upon receipt as outlined in 9I.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Baydun, supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9J. Fire Chief Brogan, you're nonstop here today. What's going on? Huh? All right. Even the next one's Fire Chief Brogan. We have to talk to you. All right, I'm just kidding. I support the fire department, all they do. This is all good stuff to support our great firemen. Fire Chief Brogan, purchase and payment of Plymouth, oh, he got even now, exhaust extraction system under AFG grant. Motion by?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase of Plea Movement Exhaust Extraction System for Fire Station 1 for Hastings Air Energy Control, Inc. in the amount of $71,003. A federal AFG grant will cover the cost of $63,903 and will be paid from the AFG grant account 101-335-940-080. The remaining portion of $77,100 will be paid from capital outlay account 101-335-981-000. In addition, authorize the mayor and controller to sign the warrant and the treasurer to issue payment upon receipt as outlined in 9-J.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilman Baydun. Any discussion on that? I'd just like to make a statement. Our fire department obviously is asking for different pieces of equipment, but I do want to point out that on a lot of these things, they have, I should say, a great grant writer, and a lot of the stuff is through grants. So we're getting all this free money for all this different equipment, not paid for by the taxpayers. So good job to your whole department and your great grant writer. Thank you. Motion made by Ahmad, Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilman Baydun. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda Fire Chief Brogan, purchase and payment of public education materials.
Council Chair,
Councilman Constant.
please give it to him.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase of public education materials from the Fire Safety Education in the amount of $2,441.50. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller to sign the warrant and the treasurer to issue payment from capital outlay for an amount under $5,000, account number 101-335-981.500, upon receipt as outlined in 9K.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant, supported by Councilwoman Breyer. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 11A. Is that correct? Yep, 11A. This is from Corporation Counsel Miyake, first reading and second reading of the proposed ordinance H22-01, zoning ordinance amendment for 23845 Warren Avenue.
Council Chair, I'm going to recuse myself from here.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Council Chair.
Councilman Constant?
Go ahead, Councilman Ahmad.
Council Chair.
Go ahead, Councilman.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council move the proposed ordinance number H-22-01, an ordinance of the City of Dearborn Heights providing that the Code of Ordinances, City of Dearborn Heights, be amended by amending in part section 36-52 of said code regarding the four parcel constituting 23845 Warren to affect their rezoning from office to commercial mixed-use district, be considered read for both the first and second time, and be adopted on an emergency basis. This ordinance shall become effective upon publication as provided by law as outlined in 11-A.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilman Constant. Any discussion on that? I do want to point out that I drove by the building and it is really looking beautiful. So I'm glad, you know, it's an older building there and this has been totally rehabbed. And I'm happy with this because now we have a lot of very nice businesses, beautiful businesses in the area. I mean, we've got Bellagio, we got this place coming up, we got Hype, very nice place. So the entrance into the city coming from east-west or even going from west-east, it's just beautiful. So thank you very much for all you guys do. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 11B. Sorry, 11, correct.
11A.
11B. Well, there was a,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no,
you're
we're
right.
fine, 11B.
It is B.
Okay, next item on the agenda is item 11B. This is from Mayor Bazey, resolution from the Conference of Western Wayne CWW demanding impacted GLWA member communities not to be responsible for the City of Highland Park's GWLA debt.
Council Chair.
Councilman Constant.
I say we give this one to Councilwoman Breyer, Councilwoman.
I can read if Robert doesn't mind.
Go ahead.
She's been fighting for this issue. She deserves this one.
Councilman
Please,
Breyer, go ahead.
All right. I make a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council adopt the Dearborn Heights resolution demanding impacted GLWA member communities not be responsible for the City of Highland Park's GLWA debt and receive, note, and file the resolution from the Conference of Western Wayne, CWW, demanding impacted GLWA member communities not be responsible for the City of Highland Park's GWLA debt as outlined in 11B.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Breyer, supported by Councilman Baydoun. Any discussion on this?
Council
Council
Chair.
Chair, before, I'm sorry, I have
ahead.
to bring something up.
There's
So
another one.
There's two, yeah,
Correct.
there's two resolutions.
Correct.
And the first one, I mean, just to give the council background on this. So we had a meeting, the one resolution that Councilwoman Nancy Breyer mentioned. So that was from last month. We had the CWW meeting. So we voted on that, all the mayors and supervisors, so it passed unanimously. So with that one, we want to make sure that, they actually want us to make sure we get the council, in our case, and if there's like commissioners, other communities, to also concur with the resolution, which is 2022-001. That's from the CWW that we passed. In addition to that, we had a meeting on Friday, this past Friday, and what they asked all the communities, they passed their own resolution to withhold the payment. So right now, with the resolution that was just read, that's pretty much saying to the state that we're not going to be responsible. So we want the state to take ownership. So the CWW right now, they'll go after the state and say, hey, you know, we're not responsible. The state needs to intervene since that was a state decision. So in addition, the resolution that was sent a few days ago, well, I think it was yesterday by Dana, I think it's labeled 11A. So that's the resolution by the city that I actually put in place, and that's to tell the state or GLWA, which stands for Great Lakes Water Authority, that we're not going to pay any more money. And so there's, however, the money, we still have to take it out, and we have to put an escrow in case, you know, there's going to be a lawsuit. It's like a $54 million lawsuit. So we're not going to pay to GLWA. However, we still have to take the money, put it in escrow to see what the judge is going to rule. So what the second resolution that I put in, we want to make sure that the council concurs. And again, CWW needs that information to make sure that we concur, so we can go to GLWA and tell them we're not going to even pay that amount.
Do we got to suspend the rules?
No.
This is just additional, it's a right.
So there's two, I don't know how the.
Both are addressed in the motion. One is
Okay.
to adopt the city resolution, and the other one is to receive, note, and
Okay.
file concurrence of
Yeah.
the one that we
Okay.
got from them.
I just want to
They're
make sure
both
the
in the-
council is aware.
Right.
They're both in the motion.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank
So
you.
they're both in the same motion that Councilwoman Breyer just read.
Yes.
And what the clerk is referencing, that's when I emailed over to you guys, just in case. It's also on the website, correct?
Correct.
Dana? Yeah, it is on the website, but just in case, this is the
Yes.
one that we're also approving. And I'm just gonna, Councilwoman, I don't know if you have it in front of you. If you don't, I can pass it. Okay, then let me just, at least, I'll just read part of it, so at least people in the audience are aware. And this next one here, that's also part of the resolution, is demanding impacted GWA members, communities, not be responsible for the City of Highland Park's GLWA debt. And the primary part of it was, final part of the resolution, therefore be resolved that City of Dearborn Heights hereby requests that the State of Michigan and the Great Lakes Water Authority not to require the 87 paying member communities to pay for the City of Highland Park's debt to GLWA. Okay? So motion made by Councilwoman Breyer, seconded by, who seconded that one? Seconded by Councilwoman Baidoon. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 13A. This is business license renewal application.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council renew the business licenses for Irwin's Auto Sales, Inc., located at 23706 Van Born, Ford Lanes, Inc., located at 23100 Van Born, Go to Motor City LLC, located at 2955 South Beach Daily, and Uncle Ray's Place, located at 24502 Warren, as outlined in 13-A.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilman Baidoon. Is there any discussion on that? Just a quick statement by me. I'd like to commend all the businesses in our city, because some other cities have had issues and problems with different businesses opening and having all kinds of problems and trouble with them. We are blessed to have had businesses being run well and making their payments on time, right, Madam Clerk? And therefore, we are approving them on a regular basis. So, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baidoon. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is for members of the public. First, I would like to start with comments from council members.
Council Chair.
Councilman Baidoon.
I just have a couple of things here, and I won't take up too much of his thunder, but congratulations to our librarian director, Mike McCaffrey, and his success. A round of applause to them. I'm just going to pull up my phone. I'm not violating no Open Meetings Act. I'm just going to read what Well,
That's okay.
my
They're at
prayers
work.
go out to the family. I was reached out by one of the drama theaters, or the drama club at Crestwood High School is hosting a Crestwood Theater Presents Chicago High School edition. It's happening April 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and the 30th at 7 p.m. at the Crestwood Theaters. If anybody wants to buy tickets today, Councilman Ahmad said he's going to be buying the first 5 for any residents. I've already had him purchase mine, so he's got 4 more. Councilman Dave Abdullah just whispered in his ear, there's 3 more out there that he's going to be purchasing. Also, the Councilman Dave Abdullah, who's putting, I wrote this down, by the way, right when I first walked in, is just saying thank you so much for bringing in and engaging our youth into being a part of this today. I mean, this is spectacular. I remember one of my cousins actually sat on the council and played the mayor for the day in Dearborn. My cousin Ali Fuad Baidon, and it was very exciting. I always wanted to do it, but here we are in retrospect. I'm sitting up on here and I'm the councilman, but this is awesome, and hopefully you're engaging with us, and who knows, down the line you will potentially be our councilwoman or mayor or treasurer or clerk or directors.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I can
I've been
tell
watching
you,
her. She's detailed.
Councilman Dave Abdullah is definitely paving that way for our youth, so I
Thank you.
appreciate you, man.
Thank
And,
you.
you know, like I've said many times, you've paved the way for me, and for a lot of the new members on this council. Really, I mean, you go above and beyond, so I appreciate you for that.
Appreciate it. Anytime.
Also, thank you to our Dearborn Heights firefighters. I've recently were able to break fast. Breaking fast is definitely, you know, fasting during Ramadan is not easy. I believe 7 of the firemen were able to fast, including our fire chief who fasted for like half the day. I'll give him half of that credit. So I appreciate them and having that, you know, breaking bread with them and the mayor and our councils. It was really, really nice. And the last but not least, happy Easter to all my brothers and sisters of the Christian faith. I'm wishing you guys to have a safe and fun and happy Easter. God bless you all.
God bless.
Thank you.
And one last comment, I told the council chair today, or our Madam Chair Dana today, we were going to make this council meeting go extremely fast. The mayor said, hurry up and get it going, so I'd like to believe it's only 7:30, we're going to be able to break fast in less than an hour, so let's keep it rolling. Haj, thank you.
Council Chair.
Okay. Councilman Constant.
Thank you, Council Chair, and I too want to wish everyone this Sunday a happy Easter who follow the particular calendar, and next Sunday for the Gregorian calendar, the Orthodox Easter. Happy Easter, and I want to thank Councilman Baidoon for having the iftar dinner and having the firefighters fast. It's good exposure to the city and everyone for, you know, what goes on during Ramadan, the fasting and the reading of the Quran and so forth, so thank you. I really support the resolution regarding the Great Lakes Water Authority, making sure that all the cities pay their fair share. I lived through the City of Detroit bankruptcy. It was one of like 3 municipal bankruptcies ever filed, and everybody has to agree and vote, and I think it did a lot more damage than people would thought it would do. A lot of cities in the area, City of Inkster, City of Garden City, have had to assess all their residents for the City of Garden City for a couple of, I think it was like a $15 million judgment against the City of Garden City. That was appealed all the way to the Michigan Supreme Court, and the city lost, and so it went on the tax rolls. City of Inkster, the settlement for the gentleman who was beaten up in the city, and a lot of cities are strapped, but it's important for the whole system to work that everyone pay their fair share. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Council Chair?
Before we go to you, we have our junior mayors. We got to do it
Definitely, yep.
respectfully. So our junior mayor has got a question for our council members. Bring the microphone up. There you go. And that's Sarah Johnson.
There's a vacant gas station on Michigan and Dearborn Heights, like on your right-hand side. Does anyone know that?
The one at Michigan Avenue and Gully?
Yeah.
Is that the one that's shut down? I do know, I can tell you as a realtor, that's been shut down for a while. It's been up for sale for quite a while, and unfortunately, not the right buyers come forward as of yet. But it is for sale, it is shut down, and actually, as a city, we'd love to have it sell. Go ahead, Gary.
And I would also mention that there was, Ordinance Enforcement Department has taken action with respect to that. It has gone to court recently, and I think some activities are taking place that will hopefully push this into a better direction.
Yeah, and that is a great corner, so whoever wants to buy, it's a great corner to buy on. Wait, let me just
to
make sure
address-
did you have something else, or that's it? Okay,
So
so Mayor
address
wants to
their
ask you.
concern also. So there was a company outside the gas station today, or the old gas station. They were cleaning up. They got all the branches, a lot of shrubbery. They actually cleaned it up, and it looks pretty good for at least the last couple hours. So they did clean up the site today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good question.
Thank you so much for the great question.
Good question. Good
You're
question.
welcome.
Council Chair.
Councilwoman, go ahead.
I'd like to thank our Parks and Recreation and all the people that participated in Saturday's marshmallow drop. We had 2 go-arounds with a helicopter, and the kids enjoyed it thoroughly, and there were over 500 people there. So it was a great thing put on by the city for the families of the community. And I also want to thank our our police department, because I personally had experience on my block 2.5 weeks ago when there were shots fired. And they were there in no time at all. And they took care of the situation. And my cats enjoyed looking out the window at the red and blue lights. But we also had an instance last night at 12:30. Somebody running down the street really fast, and they took care of that as well. So I really want to give a hand to our police department.
All right, any other
Yeah,
council?
Council Chair.
Go ahead.
I also would like to congratulate our libraries and Mr. McCaffrey for being the finalist for the IMLS 2002 National Medal from Museum and Library Services. And I know this Sunday is Easter, which is all about joy, hope, and coming together with neighbors or sitting down to a special meal with loved ones. So I would like to wish all the residents who observe a very happy Easter. Also, April is the National Arab Heritage Month. I would like to commend and celebrate first Arab Americans sitting on the stage and whoever contributed who had contribution to the city and to the country. So happy National Arab Heritage Month.
Thank you.
We love you, man.
Love you too.
Any other council members? Just a quick comment, I just want to commend a lot of the vendors that we've had in the city for Ramadan, especially the one that I went to, I happened to go to, the Elite Sports one, and just well-organized, well-kept, safe, just a whole, just really, really nice event. So I want to commend the administration of helping put that together, and it's been very well run. Thank you. All right, next up.
Council Chair, I do have Councilman Muscat, I think.
Oh, yes,
you want him-
absolutely, sorry. Go ahead, Councilman, and I hope you feel better, my friend.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I just want to let everybody know I'm home. My whole household's been hit with COVID, and so we couldn't take a chance on coming, even sitting in the back. So, but I thank you for this opportunity. As you know, or most know, that this is the Monday was the start of the holiest week in the Christian faith. Sunday will be the holiest day of our faith, and want to wish all my friends, neighbors, a happy Easter, and wish you all well. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to attend any of the festivities for Ramadan. It hurts because my very good friend Selena has a nice place there at Elite Sports, and I really want to visit her. And she's using my driveway for her car while she's here, so I feel bad that I can't get there. But hopefully in the next week or so, I should be able to join you all for breaking fast. And I thank everybody, and everybody have a good evening. And I'm very proud of my council members. You all did a great job tonight. Very good job.
Thank you, and get well soon.
Thank you.
And say hello to Lisa, I hope she feels better too.
I sure will. Thank you, sir.
All right, any other comments from council members? Any comments or announcements from
Council
anybody?
Chair?
Mayor, go ahead.
Few things. So this week is recognition for both the animal control and also dispatchers. So I want to thank both animal control and dispatchers for a great job that they're doing. I also just echo a lot of comments that were made here. I want to thank all the directors doing a great job, and also for the budget. A lot of them worked a lot of hours. I know Mr. Sabuda worked 15, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week with Chief of Staff Mariana, trying to put this thing together. Glad that they're both still okay. They didn't rip each other's hair. So thank you. Also, one thing I want to bring up, we had an event or an incident at the park the other day, and the police officers, they were very quick to respond to an incident, but it happened, so there was a fight, and there was 2 people from outside the city. They started a fight, but the police officers on the scene, they called back up, and it was within like few minutes, there was 5 police officers on the scene, diffused the situation. It was great. Nobody noticed anything. So I want to thank the police officers for their professionalism, the way they reacted to the scene, and just diffused it. It was very quick. The residents, they loved it, the presence of our police officers. Also, I want to recognize our Chief Hart. So him and his wife, they came down, they had lunch with some of the police officers. So the wife, I know I was instructed not to say something, but I'm compelled to mention something about this. She noticed the barbecue was damaged. So she came back a few days ago, spent a few $100 and bought the police officers a brand new barbecue. So Mrs. Hart, the chief's wife. So thank you for that. And just an update on Warren Valley Golf Course. We had a meeting on Wednesday, and there was a lot of discussion. As we all know, the previous concessionaire left the place a mess. They pretty much took everything. I was trying to hold back, not to say anything, but I keep getting calls from residents, like, hey, how come you haven't opened this place up? And I'm compelled again to mention really what happened. They pretty much took everything. Anything that was not bolted down to the ground, they took, including stuff, I can't mention because that's going to be a legal matter, but they set us back many, probably a few weeks with this. And so we do have another meeting next week. We had Mr. Miyake at the meeting and their attorney. So we are discussing the contract right now. And so they wanted to put some numbers together because they came back, they did a walkthrough on Friday. They noticed a few things that they haven't noticed. And when they did look at the course initially, there was a lot of items that were at the banquet and also at the golf course in the garage. But when they came back on Friday, a lot of items disappeared. So there has to be a lot of negotiations. And again, we're meeting again on Wednesday morning to go through a lot of the details. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that. So today also was a good day. They actually launched a drone to fly over the Ecorse Creek.
Oh, nice.
It was amazing. It was this drone was just like outstanding. The technology that was in it. And so they did launch the drone around 10 o'clock this morning. And I don't know the details yet, but they were supposed to fly all the way from Inkster. That's what we started. And they're going to go all the way down to Southfield. So the whole city of Dearborn Heights, where the Ecorse Creek is, they will map it. And it was explained, it's amazing the technology that they have, what they can find, what they can see. We saw a little bit of a picture that actually what the drone took, and it's amazing what they can find, actually logs. They can see branches, where there's sediments also in the creek. So I'm looking forward to get the final report to see. This is going to really help the city of Dearborn Heights apply for grants, so we can actually see, where the issues are, where the obstacles, what needs to be done. If we have to widen it, dredge it, clear the logs or the mattresses that I was told that was in the creek. But we will find out. There's a lot of things in the creek, so we will know more when we get the report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, on the golf course, I'd use words other than took, but I'll be nice now. But
Well, I was trying to do that too.
yeah, they I know the attorney's not giving me he's giving me the bad eye not to say more, but I have my feelings on this, but it's not the word took. But I've got a little concern, or whatever you want to call it, Mr. Mayor. So I looked through the budget, just a quick run through it, and we're going to start on the 19th going through this. And for those in the audience and maybe on Zoom, it is up on the website. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? The budget?
That would be the comptroller's office that
I'm
posts
sorry,
that.
Controller's office. It is up, okay, so it is up on the website. The only thing, Mr. Mayor, and I had asked for this before.
Numbers on the page.
Huh?
Numbers on the page.
No, not that. A budget writer. I've talked with other cities in the area, and I'll tell you specifically, one in Dearborn specifically. And with a budget writer, they're bringing in a lot of money, quite a bit of money, with different grants that this particular budget writer is applying for and bringing in. And for those that are not familiar with grants, it's basically free money. We're not paying for this, for almost anything that we need at City Hall or in our city. And I really would like for you and administration, and I know you guys have already done a lot of work, but somehow sharpen the pencils and be able to put in a grant writer, hopefully in this budget. And I know how this works. You got to get them a salary initially. But no matter what salary that we give to a grant writer, and I'm going to use hypothetical, this is not the salary, whether it's 50, 100, or 150, by whatever grants that they bring in, and typically it's 300, 400, 500, 600, we are the winners at the end because they're bringing in a lot more money than we paid out. Is there any way that you could take it upon yourself, Mr. Mayor, and somehow sharpen the pencil and bring a grant writer in?
So obviously we didn't budget for it at this time right now because of, our tight budget. We will look into it, but as time between now and the end of the year, we can find out exactly where we're at financially. So with when we pass the budget, I mean, we can always come back and do a budget amendment. But let's see what happens with this, with the new budget, and also with what happens between now and the end of the year budget. We'll see where we're at financially, and we're willing to look at it. Actually, that's a good idea. I mean, that's one of the things that we want. I know we discussed it several times, but we want to see where we're at financially first, before we add that position.
And this would help for a lot of things. I mean, we're talking about like Ecorse Creek would help.
Yes.
Hiring would help. Parks it would help. For police stuff it would help. For firemen, I mean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you look at our firemen, I mean, and they got a great grant writer, and we're blessed to have her there, but she's bringing in grant after grant after grant, and we pay her, and it's well deserved, and maybe even more. But she's bringing in much more than we pay her with grants for our fire department. So therefore, for a lot of the residents, we're saving on having them pay more taxes. But I'd just like to get somebody for the city as a whole and just bring in the grants. I think it'd be really, really important. And I'd like to hope and think everybody's going like this, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping everybody would be in favor of that,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we are considering it, and I know our Chief of Staff, Mariana, she would love that because she's tracking a lot of things right now. She's doing not just her job. She's tracking grants. She's making sure that they're closed, and there's a lot of things to go with the grants. So she is open to the idea. She's actually mentioned that we need
And some grants could be in the millions.
Yeah,
400,000, 500,000,
Exactly.
$1.5 million, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, there's a lot of grants up there. I mean, just before I got here, there was a police grant that I was looking at. It's $300,000. Just a couple hours before I came here, I was reading. But again, it's going to take people to, to apply
Yeah,
for those.
it's a skilled position. It's not for anybody to do.
Yeah.
It's
So
really skilled.
so we are open to the idea of bringing a grant manager that can just write grants and also track every grant that we have, because there's a lot of restrictions, with grants. You got to make sure that you follow your due diligence.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other announcements from anybody in the city? You're definitely going to have the podium. You get the red carpet today.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. First off, join us Wednesday, April 20th from 4 to 5 p.m. at Carroll County Library for an Earth Day craft. There will be a plant to grow at home, so come on out and celebrate Earth Day with us. Next, join us Tuesday, May 10th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Carroll County Library for a program on life in the Secret Service. U.S. Secret Service Agent Radford Jones will provide a brief history of the U.S. Secret Service and what it's like to work with this elite team. This fascinating program will discuss historic events and incidents that occurred during his 20 years of experience. Finally, as earlier alluded to, and thank you very much for the kind words, I am pleased to announce that Dearborn Heights Libraries are one of 15 finalists for the National Medal for Library Service. This award is given out to libraries that make significant and exceptional contributions to their communities. Dearborn Heights is the first public library honored as a finalist from the state of Michigan since 2010. But I want to thank, most of all, our city, our residents, administrations, and councils past and present. It's been a long, long trip for making this possible. This is and always has been a team effort. So thank you all for your continued support. So thank you very much. That's all for now. Thanks for your time, and see you at the library.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Good job again.
Oh, thank you.
Give him another.
If you could do me a favor, before we go to public comments, I just want to make sure, is there anybody else from the city?
CCRC.
I'm sorry?
CCRC.
Oh, you're coming as a commissioner. Okay, go ahead, absolutely.
Speaking on behalf of the Community and Cultural Relations Commission, so our April meeting was canceled due to a lack of quorum, so we would appreciate it if you guys would put the 2 vacant positions on the next agenda. They told me to ask nicely, because I normally don't. Our Autism Acceptance and Awareness Basket Initiative is off to an amazing start, so we want to say thank you to the Dearborn Heights Fire Department, which graciously agreed to pay for all of the items on our Amazon wish list. If you know a person who would benefit from one of these baskets, please sign up for them to be a recipient. Follow us on social media for educational posts on Arab American Heritage Month, and then mark your calendar for our upcoming events. Our meetings are held on the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m., so the next one will be May 5th at 7 p.m. Pride will be celebrated on June 4th at noon at the Caroline Kennedy Library. The CCRC will be doing a rainbow gardening at this event on June 17th from 5 to 8 p.m. We will be holding a Juneteenth Gala event at Henry Ford College. And then on June 19th from 1 to 4 at Richard A. Young and O.W. Best, we will have our Juneteenth Festival, 2nd annual. That's it for the CCRC. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, Council Chair and Mayor. Just so you know, Katie King, Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation. Councilwoman, thank you for bringing up the marshmallow drop. I just wanted to come up and thank everybody for coming out. And a special thank you to our DPW department, the library, fire and police, who all came out that day. And Target, too. They donated 1,000 goodie bags and raffled off 2 bikes for the community. So it was a really great turnout, everybody. Thank you.
Nice, good job.
Council, Chair, Mayor, I'm here to talk about the golf course and the facility there.
Okay,
And
so just give me one quick second. Let's just finish off the City Hall.
City Hall.
Representatives, and if there's none, then we'll go ahead and.
Oh, okay, I thought you did. I'm sorry.
Well,
I have some announcements.
You have okay, so just give us a quick second, if you don't mind.
No.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else from the city? Nobody else there? Go
There's,
ahead.
Stan,
I'm sorry?
you got somebody, he's supposed to be.
Hassan Jamal. Okay, Hassan, give me a quick second. Councilman was first. Go ahead, Councilman.
All right, I'd like to announce that on May 14th, our our post office people will be doing a collection of food items that won't fall apart or get stale. So if you could remember on May 14th to put them out and identify that the post people will pick it up for you.
Non-perishable.
Yeah, non-perishable is what I was looking for. Okay, and the other thing is we talked about the Ecorse Creek. We do have a meeting coming up on the 27th, which is a Wednesday, and that would be at 6 p.m., and we'll update you on everything that's current as of that date. I'm working on additional speakers other than poor Mr. Deeb and Mariana at all times, and that's 6 p.m. at 3335 South Beach Daily. Also, we have our South Dearborn Heights Civic Association meeting, same location on the 28th at 7 p.m., and our Ordinance Department will be speaking at that meeting. Again, 7 o'clock, same location. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. So at this particular point, we're going to go ahead and go to public comments. You'll have 3 minutes. Please state your name, city you live in, and the street you live on.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one more. I'm sorry, I apologize. Hassan Jamal, our director, he's the last one. I'm sorry, my apologies. Go ahead, Hassan. It's trying to navigate between Zoom and this.
That's all right. I'm
So go
sorry,
ahead, Hassan.
I've interrupted before. My name's Jack Danson.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to have Mr. Jamal go, and then he's on Zoom.
Oh, he's on Zoom?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just give me
Okay.
2 seconds. Go ahead, Mr. Jamal.
Good afternoon. Just to remind everybody who's attending, including council members, that the city already seeking applicant for the rehab applications to update their homes. Those applicants should be eligible if they are meeting certain level of income and they own their own property in Dearborn Heights. We have a lot of grant money to apply for. Number 2, we do still have a help for rent, mortgages, utility to pay any related COVID-19 expenditures that the resident homeowners, renters that faced in result of mitigating COVID-19 effects, which still raging up to this date. To also give the chairman of our city council an idea how, in very only few minutes, how grants works. It starts with the department. The department initiate grants basically to assist their own operations and activity to pay for that. That then will be assisted by a company or consultant who are familiar with the applications, such as that, engineering, you need engineering consultant. A small city like Dearborn Heights, there is no benefit to hire a grant writer for the city because departmental, city operations dictate that, such as Lieutenant, Martin with the fire department, such as what we do with the community development, such as recreational department. There will be a specific, departmental, specific application requirement for each grant. So the idea of just fishing out for grant doesn't exist in reality. And that's my take on this, and have a great day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jamal. Appreciate it. Okay, nobody else? Sir, I apologize.
That's quite
Go
all
ahead,
right.
sir.
Quite all right. Again, Council Chair and Mr. Mayor. My name is John Danson. I live on Penny in Dearborn Heights for 37 years. So I've been here a long time, and the reason my interest in here is I'm the president of Dearborn Heights Senior Golf League. I've been fielding questions all week because I have a meeting at the Canfield Center coming the 27th, Wednesday, here with a lot of your constituents. And I've been getting calls at home about what's happening. And everybody's concerned about it because of the fact that everybody was happy when I moved the league over here when the city took over the golf course at Warren Valley. And they're concerned, obviously negotiations are going on. I was glad to hear the information. I'm happy to hear about the state of affairs with the fiscal plant with the way it was left, but whether wondering when it's going to be open like that. But what they're concerned about is because negotiations are ongoing, and when you have a legal aspect to it, I don't think it can take a while, longer than expected. But what their membership is concerned about, a lot of them have been golfing for many years, and they know about it. Golf courses are very environmentally sensitive. They're also sensitive property. And what they're concerned about is anything being done to maintain the golf course, not in playable condition, but in terms of insecticides, fungicides that have to be put on golf courses to keep them from being overrun and made unplayable. And the question I wanted to ask, is anything being done so that I can tell the membership of the league and also make it aware of the other people that are interested parties? Because obviously, like yourself, you made the comment it's a jewel of Dearborn Heights. I think it's got tremendous potential, Mayor, but I wanted to get some information about that, if at all possible.
Council Chair?
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
So that's one of the negotiations that we're doing right now is we're talking about, one of the words that was mentioned is to mothball, obviously to go in there, but I don't like that term because I do want somebody to make sure, I mean, obviously, I understand what needs to get done, especially at golf courses. I've consulted with some experts, from other golf courses. They came and viewed it as well. Excuse me. That's one of the negotiations that we're doing with the current concessionaire is what they're going to do to the actual greens, in the meantime. So that's a priority for us too. So we did discuss that on a couple of days ago with the meeting. And that's why we actually accelerated to make sure that the first day we can negotiate is on Wednesday. And that's one of the things that we brought up, for them to come back and tell us what they're going to do with the greens, in the meantime.
Yeah.
So that's in discussion.
Yeah, and in terms of a golf course, that's the most sensitive part are the greens, because they're exposed to so many things because of the way they're cut and have to be maintained on it. And you have to have somebody that does it, has EPA approval to deal with the chemicals and stuff that are involved on a golf course. They can be quite dangerous.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I had a number of longtime residents of Dearborn Heights calling me up since I've called them to the meeting again on the 27th at Canfield Center. And so I wanted to be able to tell them something about what was going on. It's the opportunity, and I'm glad that you both addressed that. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anybody else in the audience with public comments? You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bilal Hamoud, 16860 West Eder Drive. I just wanted to express my appreciation for the city this last week. Specifically, we saw Dearborn Heights operate at one of its highest performances that I've ever seen in my life as a resident. The Marshmallow Drop was a phenomenal event. The firefighters event was amazing. For those of you that didn't know, the Dearborn Heights firefighters have been working on better connecting with the residents of this city. And in a way to do this, they hosted an event at the mosque, and they were able to give out 150, every single one that they printed, of the translated file of life forms that they've been giving out to residents. If we're talking about accessibility and better connecting with residents, it's amazing. The mayor was there, a lot of the council members were there, the fire department was there, and we saw what it was like for residents to have better access to the resources that they're entitled to. It was awesome. And we've been seeing just a lot of success. We all knew that the libraries of Dearborn Heights were the best, but now we have a nationally recognized award that we've been nominated for, just to prove that. It's the reason why I literally carry my library card on me at all times. That's a shout out to Mike. But I just want to commend the city for the work that you guys have been doing. It's been awesome. So thank you very much. To all the residents, have a blessed Easter, have a great Ramadan, and we'll be seeing you around. Thank you.
Thank you, Bilal.
The police was there as well, so just want to make sure.
Yeah, they were.
Thank you, Bilal, for always coming up and speaking. We appreciate you.
Hello again, Rachel Lapointe. Woo, that's loud today. So I had a few things. First off, I know everybody's been wishing everybody a happy Easter and happy blessed Ramadan. I don't want to forget some of our other faiths that have big celebrations right now. Our Jewish friends are about to celebrate Passover this Friday, so a blessed Passover to them. And our Hindu friends just celebrated, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this right, Ram Navami. So to them as well, celebrating all the different faiths.
I'm sorry, what was the last one?
Ram Navami, I'm not sure on the pronunciation. It's not my forte.
It's
but,
close enough.
Close enough. The general idea is there. I also wanted to suggest, Dave, with your students that you're having come, we have in D7, a couple of our middle schoolers that have been coming to our school board meetings are just amazing. They'll give you guys great ideas, like you want them here. So talk to the
they're
school
welcome.
board.
This is available to
Yeah.
any student.
I'm telling you, get these kids that are the
Yeah.
middle schoolers. Talk to the Dr. Weeks, the superintendent. He knows who they are.
Great.
A couple meetings ago, I asked about using COVID funds for creek stuff. The final rule and guidelines from the federal government have been released, and water and sewer infrastructure is included as an allowed expense for COVID funds, including things like green infrastructure, items like bioswales and, like wetland restoration, permeable pavement, all these kinds of things that we've been talking about for years to do with the creek. Even some of the smaller projects like rain gardens and these small things, if we can use some of that COVID money for this, we're supposed to get $25 million. It's a lot of money. We have a lot of work to do on the flooding issues, and it's definitely allowed. So I just wanted to point that out. Also, one other thing, and I'm kind of just going to speak from the heart for a second, and I'm not going to take too long. I don't have like a lot of skin in the game necessarily. I'm here because I care. I don't have any financial interests. I don't have any personal interests. I'm not going to benefit in any way by being involved in the city. What I care about is the people. And I care that there are people that are getting hurt and confused by actions that are being taken that might be great actions on their own. They might even be actions that I agree with or the people that are hurt agree with. But our intentions don't matter when the impact that we have is hurting people. We're people. We're right here talking to each other. And I just want to, encourage all of you to really remember that and keep that at your heart, because that's important. There's people getting hurt, and we need to do what we can to not hurt people. And I think all of you understand kind of where I'm going with that. And that's all. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Rachel. Anybody else from the audience?
Good evening, Mike Blackburn, Arnold Street. I got a few questions here. A couple of them are for Corporation Council Miyake. Do all contracts have to be approved by City Council for them to be effective in the city? Like, I can't go sign a contract that's not an emergency without City Council approval. Like a vendor contract, a labor contract, the city can't enter into a labor agreement with, let's say, TPOIM without council approval. Am I right on that?
You're oversimplifying things. For example, there are thresholds, and there are things that, for example, the mayor can set the amount, provided it's within budgeted amounts, for employees who basically are under his jurisdiction. So it's kind of actually a vague question, and the vagary makes a difference in this particular situation. So, for example, you have various thresholds, and then you have various areas of authority that sometimes are vested in the executive branch and sometimes are vested in the legislative branch. So, for example, your department would regularly, I would assume, end up getting fuel or potentially getting fuel. If we get fuel, some of these things are pre-authorized in terms of that. Every time someone ends up going over to, for example, a service station, they're actually entering into a contract. People don't think of it that way, but that's what you're doing when you end up buying fuel. And if those things are pre-authorized, it doesn't have to come to the city council. It's nowhere near the threshold that would end up being involved. So your question, I would say, is potentially correct in terms of what the implications are, but it's also way too simplified to end up answering in a way as a yes or no.
Okay, the reason why I asked is, like employment contract, back a couple months ago, right after the mayor hired a police commissioner, somebody had asked the mayor how much the police commissioner was making. The mayor's answer to that question was he didn't know, he didn't have the contract in front of him. Is that an employment contract? Is that contract readily available? Is there a severance pay in that contract? Do other employees have contracts that city council doesn't know about that might cause financial payments in the future if said employee was not working for the city no more, is what I'm trying to get at here.
Well, Mr. Blackburn, specifically one of the items that you mentioned has to do with the commissioner. I think you've been here, you've heard me state that with respect to him very clearly, I don't feel comfortable based on a potential conflict of interest because his former employer, I had ended up being involved in claims against, which were resolved, and they had some pertinence to him, even though he was not an adverse party.
All right. Well,
so I would not address that. And these matters, I believe, were handled by Mr. Makula, who is our labor counsel, to the degree that I think you're asking about them. So I would not be able to address the issues that you've raised.
Okay, because if there is actually an employment contract, I think it should be made public so city council could see it, employees could see it, the public could see it, if there was such a contract that was made. That's why I'm asking, changing on a few things. Looking at the budget, I've been employed with the city 28 years. This is the first year in the city budget that employee line items, employees have not, their salaries have not been posted on line items. I'd like to know what the change is with the line items. I've seen departments increases in salaries from this current budget to next budget are two different dollar amounts. Why are they two different dollar amounts? Is there anybody non-union getting a raise? I don't know. I hope City Council requests and demands that the individual line items for every employee is listed. My salary is listed also in there. I'd like to know if departments are employees are being cut from departments. That stuff's not listed. In order for City Council to make a decision on the budget, I think those items should be in there. Back in December, I asked City Council to reject the raises for the elected officials because I had heard some things about the budget that were not sounding good. And I asked that they defer for the next 2 years until we find out where the budget is at that time. City Council passed it, elected officials got raises, department heads got raises. I've sat here, I've listened to other unions talk, how they were off for nothing. I've heard the mayor discuss that if he has to give out raises, the city's going to have to file for bankruptcy. I'm running out of time here. I didn't get through everything because I forgot to ask for more time. I hope that all non-union raises that were given last budget are rescinded and given back to previous budgets until all unions get a raise across the board. The non-union should get the same percentage as all the union positions because there's about 5 contracts up. My contract expires June 30th of this year, and it's not fair that people that work 32 hours a week get a $21,000 raise and I get a $500 signing bonus or whatever is offered compared to what these other unions are. I think it's unfair, and thank you very much. I'm out of time.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody else in the audience who would like to speak? Madam Clerk, is there anybody on Zoom?
We got somebody else coming.
No, I know, but I'm just checking. Anybody on Zoom?
I don't see any hands up.
Hi, Pamela
Hello.
Swarple, Kenmore, Dearborn Heights. Question. I have concern why the Police and Fire Pension Act 345 is in the general ledger. It usually is always separate, and it's not this time. And it's very important that you keep that separate because that's not touchable money. That money is allocated for the pension fund. You can't borrow off of it. You can't write checks off of it. You can't use that money. That money is specifically for Act 345, for the pension. And I want to know why it's on the general ledger and kind of mushed in with everything to make it look like the amount that's in the ledger is something different than what's actually there. Because once bills start getting paid, we're going to be in the negative unless you go into pension money, unless you find the money from someplace else. And the police and the fire pension is untouchable. It's illegal to touch it. So once we go negative, that means payroll can't be made. So you guys need to figure that out. It's pretty important.
Okay. I'll get the answer for you from Mr. Sabuda, but I just want to make sure, was there any other questions that you had, or that's it?
Other than that, just, some people are upset that police are policing, but it's a safety issue. Would you rather them shut down driveways and send cars safely someplace else than burying kids that are hit by a car? Nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody likes to be asked to do different things if their mind's set to do one thing, but if it's a safety issue, that's what police are hired to do. And police are supposed to keep the public safe. And it's not fair to attack them for doing their job. So that's my opinion of it, and they're there to keep people safe. That's their job. So other than that, that's it.
God bless them. My full respect to them. Sabuda, do you mind answering the resident's question in regards to the Act 345? I'm sorry.
Good evening, Chairman Abdallah and council members. Mr. Mayor, good evening. Public Act 345 is a special levy for specific expenses that are applicable to the public safety departments. Pension, employer contribution pension, pay-as-you-go healthcare for public safety retirees, and the operating expenses of the public safety staff and other investment type of expenses. So in this year's budget, those three pieces are laid out in the general fund, and you have a special levy for that, and the revenues will come in, and we will make the expenses and the contributions that are required in accordance with contract obligations and accordance with the law. When we come to this fiscal year, the council will see over five budget hearing days, we will go through where each and every expenditure and revenue is and how we have laid that out. I don't want to take the council's time up this evening as to how that's all done, but again, we have set up in the proposed budget for 22-23, specifically the employer pension contribution, the pay-go healthcare, and the expenditures that are required to allow the pension systems to run on the public safety side through the Public Act 345 levy. You'll notice in your packages we proposed a resolution which will highlight the actual rates that we are recommending in order to pay for those costs. And all those costs are included in the general fund where they are supposed to be. And I'll be happy to entertain any questions if the council has them at this time.
Thank you.
At this particular point, no, not for me at least.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Anybody else?
Very good.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other members of the audience?
Did
All
he
right,
answer your
Madam
question?
Chair, I'm sorry.
Not really, because we're going to be in the negative when things get pulled out. Minus $200,000.
So-
It's going to be in the negative, and unless you come up with it, we're not going to make payroll.
Okay, so just for the general audience, and I've got the dates here, it's online, but just in case, we're going to have budget sessions on the 19th at 5:30 p.m. There'll be opening remarks, and of course, this is available for all residents to show up to. I'm 99% sure it's going to be on Zoom also. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Do you know if,
I'm not sure.
do you know if it's going to be on Zoom? Because I'd like it to be. I definitely would like it to be on Zoom also. I'm sorry? Yeah, come on up.
There is one other, thank you, Mr. Chair. There is one other comment that I want to make very clear here. Public Act 2 of 1968 as amended, Michigan Pilot Law 141, states that you cannot pass a budget that is in a deficit position. So we are proposing in this year's 22-23 budget a balanced and funded budget. And I'll make that statement here tonight, for the audience and and here at the meeting tonight.
But can we make sure, I'm not sure if it's your end or maybe Chief of Staff, can we make sure that all these meetings are on Zoom?
Sure. Absolutely. We can work with the Chief of Staff to make that happen.
She's shaking her head.
That's your responsibility, Council Chair. If you want to talk to me about how we could potentially do that, I would be happy to.
Absolutely.
But I have to be present with Comptroller Sabuda to take notes during the budget hearings. So I personally cannot assist you with that, but we could try to find someone else. I know that we can't rely on cable for these sessions either because they're already alternating for the recordings.
Okay. All right, I'll speak with you about that afterwards. Okay, but either way, those are, of course, open to anybody to show up in person if they'd like, for sure. This would be on the 19th at 5:30 to 8 p.m. That's going to be opening remarks, mayor's office, et cetera, et cetera. On the 22nd from 1 to 5:30 p.m. On the 29th of April from 9:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. On the 3rd of May from 5:30 p.m. till 8 p.m. And then reserve on the 12th of May from 5:30 p.m. till 8 p.m. And then the budget public hearing would be on the 17th at 5:30 p.m. And the final budget approval would be on May the 24th at 6 p.m. for general audience. Thank you. Anybody else from the audience or on Zoom? All right, hearing none, can I get a move?
Move to adjourn?
Support. Second.
Move to adjourn, made by Councilman Bedun, seconded by Councilwoman Nancy Breyer. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Meeting is over.